Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to another entry in our Community Cast series. In this match, we're going to have a showdown between the Tomb Kings led by Ark and the Black, and the Wood Elves who are going to be led by Glady. So without further ado, let's jump right into this match and have some fun. Up here in the Vanguard area, you can see the Tomb Kings, I think in total, have two groups of carrion, which I definitely like quite a bit. Number one, they're going to be ammunition sponges, and just look at that first. That one carrion just took the full brunt of these Way Watchers here, which is pretty funny, but regardless, pretty good for scouting. And if they can catch the Wood Elf archers, I mean, they can do some damage. Way Watchers are a little bit different than like Blade Guard, for example. They have better melee stats, 28, 32, and 32, so they should be able to kind of just fall back, pick off these carrion. But nonetheless, at least he knows the Way Watchers are there now, and the Tomb King player can plan accordingly. So in total, he has two groups of those guys. On top of that, he does have a couple of groups up in the Vanguard of Skeleton Horsemen. So Skeleton Horsemen, I mean, they got shields. So the shields are able to absorb those shots, and anytime you can run the Way Watchers out of ammunition, and those Way Watchers aren't shooting your high-value targets, like your Lord, for example, or pretty much any construct or your Tomb Prince, you're going to be in a relatively good shape. So the Skeleton Horsemen definitely being a good magnet for this firepower here, slowly whittling down the ammunition of the Way Watchers, and we will see how they do. On top of that, he does have one group of the Nehekara Horsemen, so these guys are a little bit more durable. They have good enough combat stats to actually cut through the Way Watchers, whereas the Skeleton Horsemen, 22 melee attack against the 32 melee defense of the Way Watchers. Yeah, it's not going to be like the best, but Skeleton Horsemen and Nehekara Horsemen charging up the hill here. For the mainline formation of the Tomb Kings, it looks like it's going to be Tomb Guards, which are a very, very good choice. They can actually trade very well with pretty much all of the Wood Elf infantry, and on top of that, they have Silver Shield. So I think he has Tomb Guard here, Tomb Guard, Tomb Guard. Yeah, it's going to be Tomb Guard across the entire front line. A couple groups of Skeleton Spearmen to help out against Wild Riders and other flank threats, which will probably be coming in, especially considering the Wood Elves do have a couple groups of Wild Riders, so I like that quite a bit. And he's got some hot Surtha Ek action. So he just has the melee chariot. So these guys, anti-infantry, very good against war dancers and even against Azrai spears. If the Azrai spears aren't braced and these guys are able to get like a huge charge into them, it can be absolutely devastating. So I do like this pick of the Skeleton Chariots. In the back, he does have the King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion, which I falsely said has regeneration in a previous cast, so my apologies, I just got them confused, but no. They just have anti-large, they got pretty good combat stats, and also have poison, definitely some very solid stuff there. Tomb Prince, Ark and Black, by far the most competitive choice, definitely going to want to get some Fate Abunus on those Wild Riders if possible. And that's pretty much it. Looks like some Nehekara Horsemen over here. For the Wood Elves, you can see they're being harassed by the Carrion. He does have two groups of the Way Watchers, which should be able to make relatively short work of these guys. Top of that, there's also a Waystalker. So the Waystalker just going full Legolas and picking off this one Carrion as he approaches here. Definitely going to be fun seeing that guy in action here. But the Way Watchers are just brutal against Tomb Kings. They can pick off the Lords extremely quick. And yeah, it can be pretty tough to deal with. So I'm quite excited to see how the Tomb Kings player reacts with these Skeleton Horsemen, Nehekara Cav. Always a bit of a tongue twister. In the back, he's got a couple groups of Eternal Guard with a Life Caster, so he's probably just going to be using these guys to hold. Or more importantly, he's probably going to be sitting back here and just kind of trying to get as much value as he can out of the Wild Riders. So you can see are already destroying those Skeleton Horsemen up there. So beautiful stuff there from the Wood Elves. And it looks like the same thing's going to happen over here. So Wild Riders, very good sweeper unit, going to be picking off Carrion. But yeah, he's got Low Extractors in the back, a Life Caster. He's got a Glady with the Pravanath Rama, and that is pretty much it. So let's get this show on the road. Right here, the Wild Riders getting a very good intercept on this Carrion, just melting them down. It's a pretty good value right out of the gates, but again, the scouting purposes of the Carrion has been pretty decent so far. Over here, the Nehekara Horsemen are charging downhill. Looks like some of the Skeleton Horsemen have survived the initial engagement, but the Wild Riders are just going to wreck those guys. So Nehekara Horsemen are now being swept on by these Wild Riders, and man, it is going to be tough for these guys. Wild Riders are just a superior unit. I think they cost like 300-400 more. But very good stuff here by the Tomb Kings player as well, trying to force through and get any damage he can, but the Wood Elves responded very quickly, so very, very good stuff there. On the far side, there's a bit of a skirmish, showed Skeleton Horsemen and Nehekara Horsemen in a 2v1 situation against these Wild Riders, but the Overwatch from these Way Watchers, definitely not fun stuff here. And it looks like Ark and the Black is going to rush forward and summon some of his skeletons. So with the Tomb Blade of Arkin, which used to heal, he now actually just summoned skeletons. So he's able to summon a group of skeletons on top of those Way Watchers. Beautiful stuff here. Way Watchers definitely not having fun. And yes, they have okay combat stats, but it's kind of just a numbers game at this point. And on top of that, Way Watchers don't have the best mitigation against this type of prolonged combat because they only have 15 armor. Over here, the Low Extractors are going to be swarming in. Looks like some Witchcraft is going down on them. A Fate Abunus. Very good stuff. Ark and the Black getting that off. That's probably one of the better targets because those guys are pretty tough to take care of. That or the freaking, I can't even remember, Wild Riders. So over here, the Chariots on the far side are having a retreat. So the Way Watcher is sniping out the Chariots, which is good. You want to be taking out all the high value units the Tomb Kings have, pretty much anything that can run amok, go after your infantry or archers or things like that. Not wasting the ammunition on the Tomb Guard. So he probably has it on manual fire. So he's going to be firing them manually, focusing down those targets and making sure not to waste ammunition on the Tomb Guard. Over here, the Wild Riders are swarming in. It looks like the summoned skeletons just generating massive value from Ark and the Black. they're able to actually finish off the group of Way Watchers pretty much just 100%. They have like 10 models left. Some Skeleton Horsemen in the back are going to be harassing. Looks like they're thinking about charging Eternal Guard. They're like, wait, those are Spear units. And the Chariots are actually doing an okay job being chased off by Wild Riders, which is definitely not fun. Tomb King player definitely going to want to pull his forces back through his, his swords here, or just run up and around and maybe pull him into the archers. Definitely has some options. So Prey of Anathrama going down for the Wood Elves, so these guys are going to be pinned. Definitely not in the best situation here, only 7 models. The Way Watcher is melting another couple models there, actually only 5 models. And it looks like the Tomb Guard are going to rush forward to try and pin down these Eternal Guard, keep them off the Chariots, but those ones are pretty much doomed. But the other Chariots do get a little hot Sirtha action into these Way Watchers, definitely getting some decent kills. I think those are the first kills they got, but those are like 8-9 kills against Way Watchers, definitely not bad stuff. The Eternal Guard a little bit slow trying to chase them down, so this is going to be a little bit of a positional disaster for the Wood Elves because they're pursuing Tomb Kings here. The Way Watchers definitely want to be falling back towards their spears or some supporting units, and it looks like there's going to be an Ushabti summit over here, but man, Way Watchers are just such a powerful unit. Even when they're being pressured, they can simply just run, shoot, and they're still able to melt their pursuers here. So I'm quite interested to see how these Ushabti are able to do against the Way Watchers. It's been a rough run for all the other Tomb Kings who've tried. So the Ushabti are going to be chasing. The mainline fight is pretty much underway, so the Tomb Guard are going to be able to beat the Eternal Guard pretty handily. The Libra Mortis also going down, which is going to get physical resist and leadership. So yeah, this is one aspect of the battle which is going to favor the Tomb Kings for sure. In the center, you can see the Life Casters trying to keep these Eternal Guard and other troops alive with, regeneration. And the Storm of Blades, what does that do? Melee attack, melee defense, pretty cool stuff there. Arc in the Black also leading the charge. The Staff of Nagash has gone off, lowering his cooldown, so very good stuff. So we could probably see another Fate of Buna. Arc in the Black just has so many good items and abilities. It's pretty bananas. The Summon Ushabti here, still trying to chase down the Way Watchers on the far side. The Way Watchers, as people have called them. But the Way Watchers able to kite them, and you can see the Summon Ushabti here just evaporating. They have 11 models, which is pretty close to their full model count, but they're going to be disappearing rather quickly here with their degeneration, plus the heavy AP of those Way Watchers. So the Tomb King's pushing forward. The bounce fire is pretty even. It's hard to say. I think the Wood Elves might have a slight advantage here. You can see in the main pocket the the Tomb Guards and the King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion. This is a really good situation. He's able to get these relatively inexpensive Tomb King's troops. I mean, Tomb Guard costs like 750, but Low Extractors are a very powerful unit. They would have been, pretty useful in the back line going after the Tomb Prince and, pinning down these Ushabti, but he's able to get them in a fight with Chaff, and another Fate of Buna just melts their faces off. Just brutal stuff. And you can see the Skeleton Hordes are able to just crumble the Low Extractors. I think is there any left? Yeah, there's actually 21 models. And this is going to be a really solid situation here for the Tomb Kings. And also, something else to point out is this Waystalker, Legless, has just been shooting Arc in the Black the entire time, and he actually took him down quite a bit. Even, Arc in the Black is going to be getting healed by Realm of Souls and things like that. So, pretty cool stuff here from the Wood Elf player, getting those really solid kind of harass shots, just sniping out Arc in the Black. And here comes... Did I just see an arrow go up? Like, look at the arc of fire on that. That one, disappeared in orbit. So the Prey of Anathrama goes down, and Arc in the Black, this is his reckoning. This is like when Bane picks up Batman and, drops him over his knee and, breaks his back. This could potentially be that for the Tomb Kings. Arc in the Black taking massive damage. Very good response by the Tomb King player, though, using the Libra Mortis that probably honestly saved his life with a 44% physical resist, because Way Watchers do, of course, do physical damage, but no, it's not enough. Arc in the Black goes down. A valiant effort from him. So for the Tomb Kings, they have a Tomb Prince left. They got some Skeleton Archers here in the back, which actually aren't bad against Wood Elves. So they're shooting at these Way Watchers, and it looks like the Tomb Prince is having a field day, just cutting through these Way Watchers. Definitely some very good stuff here. Just an extremely close game. The Tomb Prince is able to break those guys off. So both players kind of just, routing each other's scraps off. So whatever they can find on the periphery of the battlefield, they're just going for. Wood Elves in a bit more of a defensive posture. You can see the Low Extractors actually rallied somehow. 15 of those guys, which is insane. They were able to do some pretty good work against the Tomb Guard, but the Tomb Guard got those massive tower shields. The Silver Block, which I think is it 55% or is it 50? I always get that wrong. Yeah, it's 55%, which is pretty huge. But the Way Watcher is still manually aiming at the Tomb Prince, so incredible micro here from the Wood Elf player. Very, very good stuff. He's not wasting any ammunition on the Chaff. He's just going after the cookie jar. He's getting the goodies, and you can see that the Tomb Prince is going to be, trying to juke these guys out. But I don't know if the Wood Elves they're going to need some spears probably to bring this guy down, because over here on the far side, the Way Watchers are pretty low on ammunition. And these Tomb Guard eventually will catch them, perhaps, but they might be able to Alpha Strike. So yeah, if they all charged in, like the front two charged in, one of them wraps around the back, they might be able to crumble the Tomb Guard relatively quickly, but definitely a very atrocious engagement choice for them. The King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion is also still alive, and these guys are just such a nuisance to kill, so they're going to be pushing over here. Looks like we have a pretty big concentrated engagement. The Spellsinger with the Lore of Life is fighting against Skeleton Spearmen and Tomb Guard, but they're just holding, and the Tomb Prince comes in with a Steel Chair, the Tomb Strike, and he's going to be going after this Life Caster. This is a huge engagement. Could potentially take this guy out. You can see the health is 1,200 health here, 600 here. And Legolas is also providing some Overwatch. Actually, that's Lady Legolas. She's going to be shooting over there. And Prey of Anathrama does go down, which could allow this Lifecaster to live. It is shaken. It was terror routed there for a moment because of the Tomb Strike, but I would definitely like to see this Glade Lord go in there and just finish off the Tomb Prince. The Wood Elves really need to take that out. And I'm also a little bit concerned about King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion. These guys are just so tough to kill. There's so many of these bad boys. So yeah, the Tomb King's infantry in relatively good shape. They have surrounded the Waystalker here. The Waystalker is okay in melee, but he's honestly probably going to get worn down by these 63 Tomb Guard here over a prolonged engagement. Some Skeleton Archers also shooting in, providing some Overwatch fire here on the Glade Lord, as well as the Spellslinger with the Lore of Life, and just a very, very close game. This one is a nail-biter, but it looks like the Wood Elves have, relatively speaking, secured the high ground. Some Eternal Guard have, mucked up these Tomb Guard here, so buying some time for the Archers to push in, but Way Watchers are all but out of ammunition now. But the Waystalker is also dying, so just both players just pulling advantages wherever they can. But it's incredible stuff here. You can see the Glady is going to be charging in. Does get caught up in some Skeleton Spearmen. Definitely not something she wants to do, although she's able to get away, only taking about 30 damage in that exchange there. So King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion is going to be forming ranks. I think the Tomb Kings are trying to solidify their forces and use their superior ranged firepower, which they still have, because the Wood Elves don't really have a whole lot, and they're able to actually fend off these Way Watchers here, which is great. Those guys shatter. Some Eternal Guard are going to be coming in, but the Skeleton Spearmen should be able to cut them down because there's barely any of those guys left. And the Waystalker is using his Arrows of Kurnus to do some decent damage against these Skeleton Spearmen here, or the King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion, mind you. But yeah, both players right now just kind of regrouping, so we'll go ahead and fast forward a little bit as they posture up. The Wood Elves have a pretty substantial force up here in the hills. Some of these, not Deepwood Scouts, but the Way Watchers are able to get a decent surround on the Tomb Guard. And, like I said, if you can get a surround on them and break their leadership, you should be able to get through them relatively quickly. Whereas, in a normal situation, they would probably struggle. But the Way Watchers are getting through those Tomb Guard. Both players are securing their relative positions, and it looks like we're going to have the makings of a final showdown here. So the Waystalker is falling back. Some of these Way Watchers using the last of their ammunition, then basically just charging to their doom against these Tomb Guard. And it looks like the Glady, as well as the Lifecaster, lurking on the periphery of the battle. The Lifecaster definitely probably not wanting to get too involved here, because how fast is she? She has 34 speed. A lot of the Skeletons have 28, so I suppose she could get away regardless. The Way Watchers are charging in with Legolas support, so Legolas is going to be leading the charge, doing the best he can here. And the Tomb Guard, though, these guys have 72 models, pretty good leadership. Of course, they are drained, but they're going to keep fighting to the bitter end, which is pretty cool until they crumble, of course. The other group of Tomb Guard, very good micro here, is going to be going up and around. So anytime you see a situation like this, instead of just like blobbing forward, go up and around your enemy's formation. You can see that makes them shaken. It's a negative 14 penalty to leadership, which is definitely very good. And a very, very solid Earthblood from the Wood Elves here is going to be healing all of these guys up. So just insane stuff. If we look on the outskirts of the battle, 12 Eternal Guard here. I think there's a group of Shattered Spearmen on the far side. So what you see is what you got. This is pretty much it. Spellslinger with the Lore of Life taking a lot of damage as she's considered infantry size. So the bonus versus large not coming into effect here, but the poison plus just the sheer numbers. This is truly a legion here. They have 81 models just surrounding the Spellslinger, and that's also another very good play there. What the Tomb King player did, and this is something that would be very helpful for beginners or pretty much anyone who's learning the game, is if you're attacking a unit like head on, you'll notice that only, oftentimes a couple of your spears on the front of the formation are attacking, but what you do is you grab that formation of King Nikesh's, you move them over the Wood Elf, so you move them on top of the unit, and when you see that you have a good surround, you then attack, and the units will like pile in. It's much more effective than just like standard frontal attacks when you're trying to surround something. So the King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion are going to be engaging the Eternal Guard here. The balance of power pretty heavily in the favor of the Wood Elves, I would say. They still have a full health Lord, they have a Spellslinger with the Lore of Life, they have Legolas over here, he is shaken, but despite that, I still think it's going to be hard because Tomb Guard are pretty stalwart. The King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion still has 78 models, and there's a group of 42 Tomb Guard here, and all of these guys are squishy. So you can see, despite the bounce of power in the Glady, yes, they're powerful in their own right, but they don't have their abilities, they don't have their ammunition, many of which kind of determine how powerful that respective unit is. So the Waystalkers here are kind of getting put down a little bit. You can see the Tomb Guard are chasing off Legolas. The King Nikesh's Scorpion Legion has actually broken the Spellslinger with the Lore of Life. We will do a little bit of fast forwarding as there is some Benny Hill theme going on here. And now you can see the Glady is actually fully surrounded just by the hordes of skeletons. The rest of the Wood Elves are just piling back in, trying to rescue him, but you can see the bounce of power is just creeping ever so slowly back up towards the middle. As the Wood Elves, they just don't really have an answer for this. Yes, they could potentially cycle charge, but the problem is they're spears with poison, so even cycle charging probably wouldn't be that effective here. And you could see that pretty much all of the Wood Elf characters are just getting pushed off. The Spellslinger is broken, the Lord is broken, and the bounce of power for the first time in a long time is in the favor of the Tomb Kings, which is just awesome stuff, just back and forth here. You can see the Glade Lord does charge back in here, and the Spellslinger with the Lore of Life also charging in with the last death throes of the Wood Elves, and that is going to be a Pyrrhic victory. Very, very true to the term for once. And you can see that's going to be a Pyrrhic victory for the Tomb King. So what a game. Very well played to both AIMA, King of the Dead, and Amber Wizards Watch Anime. That was an incredible game by both players. Just solid micro, For the Wood Elf player, he had really good ammunition management with the Way Watchers. He was able to focus fire the appropriate targets. But again, the Tomb Kings were just resilient. They stayed in the pocket. They kept chasing, even when the balance of power was just massively in the favor of the Wood Elf. So it was just incredible stuff by both players. And I really liked both their armies. I thought it was solid. It was both just very, very high micro stuff. And yeah, it was a great game. So also, guys, on that same note, while I have you guys here, if you guys have like battles like this, or that, pretty much my staples for like casting community games, is as long as they're over 5 minutes and they're relatively, engaging, or there's some really cool tactic you want to show in the game, even if it is one-sided, that's okay. As long as there's like some cool tactic being shown or something that, you think is really effective against your opponent's faction. So yeah, pretty much my staples for casting community games are, over 5 minutes. Both players typically need to bring a caster. If someone doesn't bring a caster, I'm usually not going to cast the game. Also, players are going to need to like spread out their army. So, for example, if they have like very boxy infantry formations, I want to see like more traditional spread out formations, which is kind of the staple of Total War Warhammer. So, if you guys have replays like that, go ahead and go to the community or the About section of my YouTube channel. You guys can see my business email there, and just go ahead and send the replays over my way. So, thanks again for watching, guys. Hopefully, you enjoyed the showdown between the Tomb Kings and the Wood Elves, and we will see you guys next time.